During our initial group discussions about inclusion and exclusion within the city, we realized that a relevant topic we could discuss would be the marginalization of Chinese students at university. Both Jan and Nancy felt that this issue impacted them personally, and upon further observations, we discovered that many other international students had similar feelings towards the issues of marginalization. In 2015, Chinese students accounted for 33.5% of Australia's international students and 6.9% of Australia's total student population. An Australian study conducted in 2011 approached the issue from the perspective of health professionals, coming to the conclusion that three factors caused such issues. These were adjusting to unfamiliar academic practices, developing the skills and knowledge to manage everyday life in a very different cultural context, and both recognizing and seeking professional help for mental health problems. Wanting to further explore this idea but from a different perspective, Jan and Nancy gathered friends who would be willing to participate in a discussion. To uncover some themes experienced by the students, we facilitated the conversation by asking 4 questions, addressing questions of what, where, and why. Have you ever felt depressed, isolated, or marginalized? Many Chinese students don't participate and ask questions during classes. What do you think of this phenomenon? Are you stressed? What pressures do you have? What help or support would create a better learning and living environment in Melbourne? Through our discussion, we identified 2 root causes. The differences in language and culture between the international and local students led to challenging barriers to participating in tutorials and group work. However, language and culture are 2 sides of the same coin, as there is a dialectical relationship between the two, where language embodies cultural reality. We also identified 2 possible conditions which might prevent the resolution of these issues. There were 2 perspectives, the public and the private. The private presented a cultural difference between students themselves and their educational practices, where expectations for participation were distinctly different. The public presented a lack of institutional services which encouraged and supported students in their transition from one pedagogical system to another. This issue warrants further exploration, and we wish to continue exploring ideas on how to improve the capacity for Melbourne University to be truly inclusive.